All right, let's go. All right. What are we going to talk about this today, Tim?
Okay, Cindy and Dad, we're going to take questions from social media, and we got this one almost immediately after the final game.
Yeah.
And it's from Jordan from Facebook, and he says, Don, you've worked for Hockey Night in Canada a long time, and I'd like to ask you a question. Who picks the songs at the end of the playoffs? I love Gordon Lightfoot, but if you could read my mind, love, I guess, I would not say that's the best song to represent hockey. So who picks the songs?
I think Ron. Well, I think Ron picks the songs. I don't know if he does anymore, but he used to. I wouldn't.
Well, you like to
go.
Remember the one he did a long time ago? He picked "Love Hangover" by Diana Ross.
Oh yeah,
remember that one?
Yeah, and they did. And if you know that tune, it doesn't pick up till about
3 minutes in. It's a long song.
It's a long song, and then the boom 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 when they
started it right off the top. It's a really slow, methodical. It's not as slow as if you could read my mind, though.
Well, I would have Viva Las Vegas. A little more action. A little more action and less talk. That would have been mine. But
I think the best story you have about song is when the Montreal Canadiens won in Montreal in the Forum.
Oh yeah.
So they had the opening song was what?
I forget. Weem away. Remember that song? Weem away. Weem away. How does it go?
Yeah, I like that. A weem away. The lion sleeps tonight.
That's right.
So we were stuck in the Forum. We couldn't get out. They were having a riot. Why were they having a riot?
Well, they won the cup, so people will smash things, right?
I guess they had to smash things up. So we couldn't get out. Yeah, and we were locked in the Forum there. So there was a bar there, and naturally we're having a bar. So I started to sing that song, and boy, and Ronnie Harrison, he was a director. He got mad, and then Ron got mad, and now that I see that he got mad, I had a lot of fun that time.
Wanted that song.
I don't know why.
Because I guess they said it was the Lions sleep tonight, and Montreal's like the Lions of winter or something like that. Like some obscure thing like that. Everybody was watching, go, why would they do a weem away?
Well, I was thinking, who's the lion in this thing? Like, was Montreal?
Yeah.
Oh, Montreal. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and
remember the time you were talking about at the end of playoffs? So you were in when the Rangers won in New York. You guys couldn't get out. And
we could not get out, and I said, and they had the horses all the way around, and cars, and they thought there was going to be a riot there. And I said to the ambulance there, I said to the driver, I said, you could drive, and he said, yeah. I said, okay, we'll give you $10 a piece if you take it. You know what I remember about that was Harry Neal had his wife there, and I took the $10. And I said, well, $10 for your wife. Well, I thought my wife would get free. I said, nobody gets free in this big world.
So did he put on the siren and everything to get out?
No, he just drove right out. Uh-huh. And nobody's going to stop us, an ambulance. Anyhow, we had a lot of fun.
I thought you were going to say like $100 or something, and you gave him $10.
Well,
it was like about six people or 7 people.
Well, I think there was 7 people, $70, and all he did was drive out. No, I would never have picked.
And you're a Gordon Lightfoot fan. You've seen.
Oh, I am. I went to see him.
Yeah,
I went to see him. One of his last shows. I went to see him.
So, Dad, this one comes from a lot of people, Cindy, and you know how the internet is ripe with conspiracy theorists. I don't know how many times I've seen people say that Gary Bettman hates Canadian hockey teams, and that a Canadian team will never win the Stanley Cup as long as Gary Bettman is commissioner.
I am not with the NHL anymore, so it doesn't make any difference. But Gary Bettman, if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't have been Calgary in the league, and there wouldn't have been wouldn't have been no Oilers in the league. Remember when the dollar was down, way down, and
he did kind of the revenue sharing to help them out.
Yeah,
it was like what? It was like 60 cents on the dollar.
Yeah,
and they pay because they got to pay all the players in American money.
And don't forget that in 2015, McDavid was now Buffalo should have
Did they have the lottery, right?
Yeah, they had the best lottery with 20%. Arizona was 13. Oilers was 11. Oilers jumped up 2 spots to get the number 1 pick was with McDavid. So he's done pretty good for Edmonton. Yeah.
But if Gary Bettman hated teams,
he doesn't
hate Canadian teams, he would have want McDavid to go to Arizona.
Yeah.
They'd have a new building by now.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah,
if he had gone to Arizona, they'd have had a new building somewhere.
Right.
I don't know where, but
I think he was shocked, right? Because I think he was all primed to go to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Because Buffalo, his parents live in the Toronto area. They drive down, and it'd be perfect, right?
Yeah.
And he was shocked.
He did pretty good. He's done pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
So we can't say that.
He's making $100 million, and they're on the cusp. So you're saying that whole conspiracy theory of Bettman hating Canadian teams
doesn't hate them. I know for a fact he doesn't hate them. He left the fight again, didn't he? I mean, if we had got somebody else, wait till the next guy gets in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah,
the next commissioner gets in there.
The way the world's going.
Okay, Dad, this is from Connor from Facebook, and he says that he just watched Slapshot for the millionth time. I mean, how many times have we all watched that show,
Yeah.
That movie. I love the scene where the Hanson brothers go into the stands. Did you ever do that in your minor hockey career? Why do they always have to put minor hockey career?
Yeah.
What does he mean by that? But anyway.
Anyhow.
Do you ever end up in the stands?
I remember my second year, I was playing for Springfield, and I don't know what I was going in the penalty box for, but I was going in the penalty box, and this guy reached over and grabbed my sweater. I don't know why he would. So anyhow, I grabbed him and jumped backwards, and naturally he landed on top of me, and I looked around, and the players had come on the ice.
So did you fall in the penalty box or fall back on the ice?
No, on the ice.
You fell back on the ice.
I pulled him back right around the ice. I looked up, and there is Glenn Saumore, our coach, kicking him. Oh, I felt sorry for the guy because I could feel the kick through the thing. And it was unbelievable. I mean, this poor guy, I don't know. Then they threw him back in the stands. And I look over, and here is the trainer. He's up in the stands, and he's punching out this guy. It was unbelievable. So we run all over. We were all up in the stands. It was pictures of the paper the next day in the Harrisburg paper. They didn't have a paper in Hershey. First of all, they had a picture of us in the stands. And I think Hockey News has run it a couple of times. So, yeah, I went up in the stands.
So did you go up like the Hanson brothers, just hop right in there?
Everybody just ran right up and
were you guys punching guys or?
Everybody was punching guys and.
So you were playing for Springfield.
I was playing for Springfield.
And you were in Hershey.
And I was in Hershey.
And the Hershey Bears, what were they doing?
They were just standing watching.
They didn't go help. They didn't go help their fans.
No, they didn't. And Hershey won it this year in the American Hockey League.
Yeah, Hershey Bears won Game 7 in overtime against the Coachella Valley Firebirds.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
They play in Palm Springs, California.
Okay, Dad, this is another question from Facebook. What is the key to the Panthers' success? Have no one predicted or even seen this coming with them? No,
and anybody that says they did, they're lying. But they were like L.A. They battle hardened, and every game they had to win. They had to win every game. If they don't win every game, they don't make it. And they win, and they win, and they win. And when they went into the playoffs, they were battle hardened. As I say, don't you love that name, battle hardened?
Yep.
And that's exactly how they played.
Do you think
they were a mean club.
Yeah. Do you think the Bruins were the opposite? They weren't battle hardened?
I remember I kept saying to you when I watched the Bruins, I said, I never saw a team throw a puck around. They'd throw it blind, and there the guy would be. And that's exactly what happened to Boston, that they got too easy. The league was too easy.
And you have to look at Bobrovsky. I mean, he
was the goaltender too was unbelievable.
He stole at least 2 games against the Bruins.
Yeah,
and he stole at least 2 or 3 games against Carolina.
You gotta have a goaltender that'll steal a couple of games to get you, and that's exactly what he did.
So, Cindy and Dad, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Spreads.ca. They're a Canadian-owned online casino and sportsbook. And if you sign up now and use the promo GRAPES, they match your deposit up to $500. You get 10 spins on the big wheel for some big dough. And your first sports bet, they'll spot you $25. And I want to thank them for all their help with the Don Cherry Pet Rescue Foundation.
Right.
They donated about close to $20,000.
$20,000.
And if you want to find out more about Don Cherry's Pet Rescue, go to, what's your website, Cindy?
Don Cherry's Rescue at I think we did an .org.
.org. Okay.
Let me look up.
So, Dad, we got the next questions from Tommy Fresh from Twitter. He says, it's becoming more difficult to achieve success in the regular season and the playoffs. There's Boston, first place, set the record out first round. It is 2 different brands of hockey, and should we be making an effort to make it more similar?
Well, first of all, you couldn't have it more soon if you saw all the injuries. That was a mean playoff series. Florida didn't fool around, and neither did anybody else. I can only tell them what I did. I started getting ready for the playoffs the very end of training camp. I knew this guy wouldn't be any good in the playoffs, even though he'd score a lot of goals. I got criticized, and I got ready for the I got ready for the playoffs in training camp.
So then, let me ask you: were you aiming, when you were in training camp? Were you aiming to end up in first spot or not?
We ended up in first spot all the time because it was against Buffalo too, and they had a pretty good. They had the French Connection line.
So were you battling for first?
Yeah, all
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were in a battle. Every game we had a battle for first spot.
And why was that? Because you got the advantage for the home game?
Well, you get the home games. And
that was funny, though. We ended up first, and then we played L.A. first round. We got home ice. And then we played Philly. But Philly got home ice. So I guess it was a different division or whatever. But
you must have had more points.
I told the story before, but I wouldn't tell the story again quickly about Punch Imlach, who was with Buffalo. And there was maybe like 3 games left in the season, and I think we were up by a point, or they were up by a point, or something like that. Yeah. It was like dead even. And he was at the game in Toronto watching the game, and the Bruins were down 3-1.
Down 3-1, and
with about 2 minutes to go?
Oh, a minute and a half to go. So he left. He left with his wife, and they went to the parking lot is just across the street. So as he got across the street, the guy said, "Well, that's too bad, Punch. You'll end up second." No. He says, "We're going to end up first." He says, they lost. He says, "No, they won." He said, "They couldn't win. There's no way they could win."
Yeah, Bruins won 4-3. We left. He goes, "There was a minute and a half. We were down. They were down 3-1."
Yeah. And I remember I told everybody, and who's got the goal, Tim?
Dougie Hallworth got the first one. It was a defenseman.
And Marcotte got one.
And Marcotte and Matty Hagman.
2 of the guys that didn't play.
That's right.
I said, go ahead. Don't stay back. Just go. Flood the. And by God, that game, I remember that game as like it was yesterday.
That put us in first spot. And
it did. Well, and we never looked back after that. Punch, by the time he got over there, the guy said, "Too bad, you're going to end up in second spot." It was music to my ears.
Okay, Dad, this is Abs Fan from Twitter, and he said, Jeffrey Lupul and Scotty Upshaw criticized players for being too soft. Jeffrey Lupul said, it's a different athlete now in every sport, and everyone says it. They got more power. They don't handle criticism. Guys will be effing crying if a coach yelled at them. And then Scotty Upshaw on the same podcast called Missing Curfew, if the players cried like they do today back when I played, they'd be gone. So the question to Abs Fan was, who yelled at you the most during your career? And then who did you yell at the most during your coaching career?
First of all, I got to say about the 4 guys that want to leave Calgary. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
Geez, 4 guys said they're not coming back.
Well, everybody's gone. Sutter's gone, and the GM's gone, so...
The whole team will be gone. Who yelled at me? Well, Shore. I played for Shore. I mean, anybody that played for Shore. I remember, this is a true story. I remember putting on my gloves. I didn't even know he was in the stands. And I putting on my gloves, and I stride out on the ice. And I think it was Welland, Ontario. Where I had a camp. And Mr. Cherry, geez, he called me over. I hadn't even taken a stride yet. You see the way you're skating? Skating, I hadn't. So anyhow.
Well, tell the time, too, he got mad at you and another guy made you skate.
Oh, yeah. Dwayne Rupp and I, we skated 4 hours, and he left. Yeah, I think he forgot us. We were out there. We were around and around. And you know what it really hurts when you skate, when you say, is your back.
Well, for 4 hours, I would imagine.
But you think your skates do, but they didn't hurt, but legs didn't hurt, but the back hurt.
Didn't Brian Kilray bring you a cup of tea?
The guys brought us a cup of tea to keep us going.
So why did he skate you?
I don't know. I might have been. I glanced at the clock. It just glanced at it while he was talking to me, and he told me. He said the reason that he kept me out there 4 hours. I don't know what Dwayne Rupp did, but I was, because I glanced at the clock.
Guilty by association.
Geez, I didn't even glance. It was right behind his head. All I had to do was look at his head. Anyhow.
So he yelled at you the most.
He yelled at me the most.
Did Punch yell at you? Like, was a Punch a yeller?
I remember Punch one time in Cleveland said, Bob Armstrong and Thingamabob. I would go on the ice, but because they called me Thingamabob, Thingamabob.
Yeah,
and
very demeaning.
And you know what I remember about that? I remember we won that game, and in Cleveland, you could pick up the chairs and throw them, and they were throwing them on the ice at us.
Really?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Just like Slapshot.
just like in Slapshot.
So who would you say you yelled at the most?
Now let me see. It would have to be in the Boston Bruins. I would say Rick Middleton. And I remember Rick Middleton when he played in Providence. He played for Providence, and they had to introduce him to the goalie at the end of the year. And I said that to Harry Sinden one time. He asked me, do you know this guy, Rick Middleton? I said, yeah, Harry, he'll drive you nuts. I said, he knows that end of the ice, but he doesn't know the other end of the ice. And the first night, I'm yelling at him, and everything like that, and he gets a hat trick. I mean, what are you going to do when he gets a hat trick? But I still hollered at him.
Well, you wanted him to back check, right?
All I wanted him to do was to grab somebody, anybody coming back,
and watch the points.
And watch. Well, I go on, but he at the end, he was the guy that you could put on if you're winning 3-2 and it was a face-off and you're in.
Yeah, and when they raised his number to the rafters,
yes,
he invited you down, and you were the only coach or player on the ice.
Yeah, that's funny. I never thought of that.
Well, he said you made him a complete player.
Well, I don't know about that, but anyhow.
Okay, Dad, this is a question from Alex from Facebook. In your rookie season, do you remember playing against a player named Camille Henry?
Camille the Eel Henry. Boy, I'll tell you, do I. He had me picking up quarters, I'll tell you that. And he was the little guy, but boy, was he good. He get 50 goals, and then down in the American Hockey League, and he didn't get called up.
Yeah, he won the Rookie of the Year in 1954 at the Rangers. Then they sent him down
to Providence.
Providence, gets 50 goals. Then they don't bring him up, and they send him to Quebec the next year.
Someday we're going to do a story on Doug Harvey and Ted Lindsay, how they fought for us down in the minor league. Didn't they do much good, it seems. But anyhow, Camille Henry, did I play against him? Boy, I picked up a lot of quarters, but I got to tell you one funny story about Camille Henry. Marcel Pronobo, who was a great defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs and many years with Detroit, he couldn't stand it any longer. He'd drive you nuts. He really would drive you nuts. He'd get in and out,
Because Camille Henry, that's why they call him the Eel, because he was just like a slippery.
You couldn't hit him. You couldn't hit him. He'd hit him, and he'd float around. But anyhow, he couldn't take it any longer, and he grabbed Camille by both arms and nailed him against the boards and said, "All right, now what are you going to do now, Camille? Where are you going to go now?" And Camille kissed him right on the lips.